Masters of the Universe.
Well, that was fast. How'd you pull that trick?
You probably had it already.
PaulJPowers.com.
Okay, I will leave that button to you.
James, but I like your audio quality better than mine.
James, do you have a hard stop time for tonight?
Meh.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Oh, do you both have 2 likes and a classic maker, your favorite thing, 2 dislikes and a tragic maker?
I'll pull my notes page.
Okay,
I had
awesome.
Basically everything I emailed, I put on a Google Doc.
Okay, I didn't read the email, so I'm glad I didn't.
I'm glad you said something because I was like, that's right. This will help.
Let's see, James, Jeremy, or Paul. Do any of you have a spiritual speculation for tonight that we'll do as the bonus content? Yep, James does. I do. You do, Jeremy?
Yeah, I get to see what did I put.
I also have the power.
Yep,
nice.
There we go.
Oh, Jeremy has the power too. Apparently, he has the original toy he was showing me earlier.
I have a podcast. Oh wait, you didn't mean that one, but yes, I have.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's not the original shield. This is from the Origins line, the weapons. But I think I'm going to order. Somebody's probably 3D printed some of the original stuff at some point. But
yeah,
very.
Yeah, cool. I have quite the collection. You're just not seeing that part of the wall. I guess Francisco got to see, but like I've got a wall of stuff over there, duplicates of some things that I've got lying on the ground. Heck, even over up across the window, there's some
Paul,
vehicles. I got a few more vehicles. Okay. It's kind of hard to get in there. Yeah, there's some more relics of my Disney past. I got Brett Iwan, who's the current voice of Mickey in the parks and everything.
Very cool.
So, I'm still a Disney fan. I just don't like the current company.
Next question I have for you guys. Do either of you have a good, what do I ask, Paul? A good impersonation in general or from this movie?
No.
Okay.
Well,
a good impersonation
from this movie, fine, but
that
just in general.
You thrill party goers when you bust this out.
There you go. Put that in the notes.
Well, sometimes I'm good at speaking in ways where you can't understand what I'm saying, kind of like Dolph Lundgren.
Wow.
It's like, was that English?
How about you, James?
Cute.
I am not known for my impressions. Except for maybe bad impressions, but
okay. But you can do an awesome man-at-arms, right, James?
I can do an adequate man-at-arms.
Okay. And let me hear your Tila right here, Jeremy.
Right here. I don't remember how I did it earlier.
Just go up a little bit in your register. Right here.
Right here.
Yeah, that works. Perfect. Do that.
My God.
Do that.
Miss Piggy.
Yeah, there. Yeah, do a Miss Piggy. That's perfect. Don't worry, my Gwilder will be horrible, so don't worry, guys.
Kermie.
Oh my gosh.
No, Kermie.
I think that is all. I just started the jar. That's going. Okay. Then, hey, Rushmore Show. Paul, will you say a quick prayer over us, and we'll get started.
All right, Lord, thank you so much for tonight. I pray that it all goes well and that you would be glorified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right. Jeremy, any other questions before we actually start?
None that I can think of. I'll probably come up with something later. Although this isn't like a guaranteed thing, but I have been working on trying to get a streaming radio station set up. Right now I'm trying to figure out a way to monetize it.
Mention that in your latest podcast. Yeah.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah. I guess I did. So you guys would be one of the shows that I would think to do. Like, well, part of my plan is about 6:30. I want to have like a Bible reading time where basically we can do like Bible in a year. But like at 7 o'clock, I want to play the basic like Christian nerd style podcasts. So I want like 5 different shows, and you're one of the shows I've considered. That would be good between like 7 and 9 to play. So just so you know, but I'm still trying to get this Ad Tonos company to contact me to find out if they're compatible with Citrus 3, which is Citrus 3 is what I used to work with back in college for streaming radio. If I know if they're compatible, then I can monetize and I can have ads play. So
okay, cool.
But
let us know, Jeremy. I think we'd be open to discussing that for sure.
Because it would be kind of fun.
I have a question, Francisco.
Yes, Paul, go ahead.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Thumbs up if you're ready to go.
Don't forget the 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So we're going
to need to put that in your list.
I do need to put that in. You're awesome at reminding me. So, guys, don't do any sound gates if you can. Don't mute yourselves. I'm just going to take 5 seconds of just on sound silence so that I can remove that noise floors in post. So we'll start that now.
Wait for it.
Okay, thank you guys. Alrighty, then probably I will probably need a couple takes on this intro, but let's go ahead.
Okay, Power Rangers, let's do it!
And a thumbs up if you're ready to go. All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3. I need a few things. Bosonic Tesseract.
Jeremy's cue right there.
Oh, see, I
I should have said.
here.
I'm
Yeah,
going
I
to
didn't-
say
I was like-
Bosonic Tesseract.
yeah, I was like,
It might help if I clue in the guess, Paul. What was I thinking?
And welcome, Bobo.
Yes, welcome, Papa. Okay, let me do that again.
take two.
I need a few things. A bosonic tesseract,
Right here.
an octode rectifier,
I have an Octode rectifier.
and something to play the podcast on.
Wait, I'll get a Walkman from Charlie so that we can listen to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Thunder Road 3 now online. How can I help you travel through movie space-time today? Course entered. Masters of the Universe, 1987. Is this correct? Course set. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the former pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your exo and mine, Paul, the PaulJPowers.com Powers.
You know what that means? According to my last name, it means I have the power.
And multiple of them, apparently.
Yeah.
Also, for this discussion of the film Masters of the Universe, we welcome aboard for the first time video editor and host of the Fandom Nexus podcast, Jeremy the Spider-Pan.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to our host as he plugged in his microphone.
I have a podcast.
There's the one.
There's
In addition, we are glad to have back aboard pastor at Refuge Church, author of Cinemagogue, and co-host of the Popcorn Theology podcast, James Harleman. Hey, James.
Hey, and guy with no fancy intro whatsoever.
Well, now that we are all masters of this podcast, and you've gotten a quick flyby of who we are. Let me do that again because I could say that better. And now that you have a quick flyby of the masters of this podcast, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Masters of the Universe?
Sure. All right, He-Man and She-Ra, Secret of the
Paul,
Sword was
dang it,
revealed.
why didn't I should have figured
What?
you would do this to me?
What are you talking
Paul,
about?
I'm sorry, I didn't tell you this yesterday, but we're covering Masters of the Universe from 1987.
You said, wait, the He-Man movie, right? The Secret of the Sword?
Not the animated movie, the live action movie.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be He-Man.
Oh, man. All right, hold on.
That could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
I know.
Go
I
back.
said I should have. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let me go back, rewind, rewatch. All right. Masters of the Universe.
Yes,
Revelation.
that's the one. No, what are you doing to me? 1987.
Oh! All right. The one with the all right.
With Monica Geller, that one.
Oh.
With
Why don't you
Ivan
say so?
Drago.
All right. Masters of the Universe was released August 7th, 1987. Runs an hour and 46 minutes and is rated PG. It is directed by Gary Goddard and written by David Odell, Stephen Tolkien, not that Tolkien, and Gary Goddard. With lead stars being Dolph Lundgren. Dang it, Dolph.
Lundgren.
Ivan Drago. He will
Yeah.
break you if you get it wrong.
Yes. Frank Langella and Meg Foster and a bunch of others. And the music was composed by Bill Conti. Are you ready for the box office trivia?
I'm ready. Are you
Ready
guys
as we'll ever
ready?
be.
Awesome.
Bring it.
Go ahead, Paul.
All right. Masters of the Universe was made for about $22 million and earned only around $17 million at the box office. So given this fact, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1987? This time we'll go for the top, I'll give you guys a break, 75.
Okay. AKA it's not in the top 50 is what you're saying.
Well, I was going to say top 100, but I wanted to give you.
All right. Well, everyone in chat is welcome to join live also, but let's start with Jeremy. What is your guess for where Masters of the Universe came in the top 75 movies of 1987?
Yeah, see, I can't think of any real big blockbusters from 1987. So, I mean, He-Man at least had some anticipation.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it was maybe 34.
34. All right. James, how about you?
Boy, that's Paul might be trying to trick me, but he
true.
gave us that extra
That's
low.
true. Good point.
But as much as I adore this film, I vaguely remember that it sort of was a blip on the radar. So I was born in 73. I'm going to go 73.
73. Okay, that's fair. Then in chat we have several guesses. Let's see. We have 74 from Geek Devotions. Welcome, by the way. Bobo guesses, of course, 42, as he's wont to do.
Good job.
The Rushmore Show, I think that's correct, guesses 70. Apple Dents guesses 36. And I'm just going to guess a solid 50. No, 50, 51. I'm going to guess 51.
51. Wow. Are you writing all these down?
Price is right, Francisco. The price is right.
Because according to the-numbers.com, it came in at 62.
62.
Ooh. Hey,
so
nice.
I guess that makes, let's see. I think James might be the closest then. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Rushmore Show guessed 70. So
Yep.
just a little closer. Good job,
Good job.
Rushmore Show.
Funnily enough, that might have been the channel I was watching He-Man and the Masters of the Universe on back in the 80s in Kansas City. Channel 62.
Wow.
Nice.
But
Unless it was Channel 41, but I can't remember.
And thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind melt or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Travis has located our target film.
Alert. Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
A battle fought in the stars now comes to Earth.
Police! Nobody move! I think I'm gonna need some backup.
A battle for the power to be masters of the universe. Dolph Lundgren is He-Man. Frank Langella is Skeletor.
Let this be our final battle!
Masters of the Universe, rated PG.
Now playing at a theater near you.
Woohoo! Yes, playing at a theater near you. Geez, if I can talk. But is it still playing in the theater of our minds? Enough to give us some memories. Well, let's find out when we combine our memories together for our memory mind melt synopsis of Masters of the Universe. Skeletor has taken over Castle Grayskull, captured the sorceress, and banishes He-Man, Man-at-Arms, and Teela to Earth. A not Orco dwarf musician is on Earth trying to get back to Eternia and steals not KFC, while He-Man asks Monica Geller and Lieutenant Paris to help. Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah. Oh,
Lieutenant
Tom
Paris to help him find the cosmic key to get them back home. Skeletor executes Lizard Guy for failure and decides to hunt down He-Man on Earth, but ends up bringing him back and not dying. He-Man defeats Skeletor and at the end of the movie, and not at the beginning of the movie, due to writers who can't come up with a better plot.
No.
You know what? Wow. Some of that happened in the movie, but I'd say a lot of that was decepted. But based on those memories, as you know, flawless as they were, what rating did they lead you to predict before you rewatched this film? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with our newest guest, Jeremy. What was your prediction before you rewatched Masters of the Universe?
I had to go with where I kind of sat at through most of my life and call it tragic.
Tragic was your prediction. All right. James, how about you? You said you love this movie, so what's your prediction about it?
Oh yeah, I was let's see, 13 when this movie came out.
Oh, okay.
So and had no real great love for the cartoon because I was 13. So the cartoon was beneath me. It was for kids.
Sure. No, yeah, that's true because that came out just a few years before. Yeah.
I was I was a man of discerning taste. And so but being realistic, I went with nostalgic. assuming that,
Nostalgic?
that I would love it from a nostalgia point of view, but it would not maintain its classic status in
All
my
right,
mind.
that's fair. How about you, Paul?
I remember seeing this twice in theaters. And
wow.
several times on video, VHS. Not so much on DVD and Blu-ray afterwards. So I haven't seen it in a while. So I predicted nostalgic.
Nostalgic. All right. I remember never really liking this movie that much. So I too, like Jeremy, predicted it tragic. But it'll be interesting to see.
Why are we watching this?
Predictions because this was originally, if I read the records right, as corrupted as they were, this was originally our episode 3 of the podcast, but Jared, the Goblin King, corrupted the file, so we had to redo this one. So that's why we're doing it.
Nice.
But it'll be interesting to see if those predictions pan out. But first, let's get into the things we liked most about Masters of the Universe. Travis, bring up our like section.
Best bits.
All right, let's start with James this time. What was one thing you liked about Masters of the Universe?
Okay, for the first one I'm going to go with is the score. I mean, when you asked me to do the show, like it was already in my head. It was just like, you were like, would you be on the show? It's like, dun, 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 dun. I don't know what it is. It's like this wannabe John Williams mishmash of Superman and Star Wars.
I'll give you that, yes.
This movie wants to be Star Wars so bad. From the score to the Black Stormtroopers and Skeletor all in black and a cape that he never had in the cartoon. I think he's dressed better, honestly. But
I agree with that.
His summoning and treating the mercs like the bounty hunters in Empire Strikes Back, the spiderweb aesthetic on his floating platform looks like the carbonite chamber room. I'm sure the theme in Star Wars sort of echoes of it were probably why I liked it then, and honestly one of the things I still like now. I still love that. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. I on the whole, so it didn't make my like list. I'll leave it there. It didn't make my like list. But I will say there were elements, especially the themes that were used for Skeletor and the other bad guys. I did enjoy those. I thought they fit very well and very amplified those characters. So I did like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Jeremy, was the score something you enjoyed or hummed along to, or is there something else that you liked?
Yeah, that is one of the things I do enjoy. I mean, Bill Conti, we were talking about the guy who even the Rocky music.
Yeah,
Bill Conti's got a long list of success. So the music is definitely one of the best aspects because it is a tune that gets in your head, even when you have those years of your life that you're like, man, I really wish that had been a better movie. I was looking forward to that, but then that theme, you hear it, and you're like, oh man, it just gets you right here. It is right in it was right in the childhood, you know.
Exactly. Yes. Well put. Paul, did it hit you right in the childhood too, the score, or did something else get you going?
I don't know. That's. I'll leave. I'm not going to touch that.
All right, fine. What was something you liked?
One
about
of the things
Masters
that was really surprising that I enjoyed was the cast. Just everybody along. I mean, we already mentioned Monica Geller in there and Lieutenant Paris, but even down to like Meg Foster was in there, and Billy Barty in there, and then
you gotta love Billy Barty.
Don't forget Officer Strickland.
Yes, and especially Lubick. I don't know, Officer Lubick. I mean, he comes in and
Nobody takes pot shots at Lubick. All right, Pickles, you want to play games? Let's play.
I mean, James Tolkien. I mean, he unfortunately. I'm sorry, James. I met him in person. He's a lovely guy, at least when I met him. But he is a one-character note, and he plays that so well. I wish there was more of him in so many other movies. I love his character that he plays that one note so well.
He does.
Yeah, slacker.
Yeah. And yes, Frank Langella was amazing. I'm sure someone's gonna mention that, but
he ruled that movie. That was Frank Langella just stole the film.
Yeah,
he was so great.
I'll go ahead because that was one of my likes. Was Frank Langella just laying out so thick as Skeletor, chewing the scenery might be another way to put it. Just really, you could sense that he really enjoyed what he was doing, and he's just really having fun with it. So that was very fun to see, and he felt like a classic cartoon villain come to life. So I really did enjoy that.
It's interesting that I could see other people playing this and playing it over the top, but the way he played it, it still felt real within that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too over the top, but he did a masterful job in that, walking that line.
Because he's a master of the universe.
Well, he wishes.
And he's got a one-dimensional character. There's really one aspect of Skeletor the whole time, and he still plays it enough to where you like watching him.
Yes,
absolutely.
Even when that's one of the things I put as my likes at the beginning is he makes a fantastic entrance with the Havoc staff, slamming it down as he marches into Grayskull, announcing his presence, and that great turn he does.
Yeah.
You compare his entrance to the movie compared to Dolph Lundgren, where it's just like he pushes a message, and Dolph Lundgren just kind of turns around. It's like, hi, I'm He-Man. Hi. It's like your entrance was bad, okay? Compared to Skeletor, I mean, go watch Raiders of the Lost Ark and watch how Indiana Jones is introduced to the audience. And like, that's how you should have stepped into this movie, Dolph. Come on.
That's fair.
He seemed a little expendable.
Love it.
Wow.
I think somebody broke him.
Oh my gosh. He needs some Old Spice, no sweat body spray. Right.
I will tell you though, as a kid watching this in the 80s, in the middle of the Cold War, where Russia was like the number one enemy, and he had just played in Rocky IV as the Russian, like the main, to all of a sudden see him switch and like, okay, I'm supposed to trust this guy as he's the hero now. I mean, Dolph, I like seeing him on the screen. I think he does fine. I can't imagine a better actor, but it's hard to get used to in my brain for that.
Yeah,
just that switch.
No, I get
Although
that.
he looks the part, though. I mean,
I was about to say, I don't know who would play it better.
See, I don't know if I agree with that. He didn't make my dislike list, but I feel like I swear you could find another muscle man that looks more like He-Man.
They could have switched out that guy for
Probably
Superman 4 came out that year. So they could
that guy.
You could have Nuclear Man play He-Man.
I could have seen him be it.
Switch the roles. Put Dolph in Superman 4.
They were both canon films. Come on, this should have been easy.
Yeah. They're the two films that broke canon.
Canon means quality, doesn't it, folks?
Yeah. Yes, it does. I know. Get Chuck Norris. That's who could have been it. It would have been perfect.
What?
I'm kidding, Paul.
Okay.
Let's go back to Jeremy. So you had said Frank Langella. Was that your other like, or was there something else?
Yeah, that was definitely on my like list. Is Frank Langella. I mean, the way he just threw himself into a role that could have been very cartoony, could have been cheesy. It's very one-dimensional, but it's just a classic. And the other thing I mentioned was really just some of the casting, and it even got to throw in like because. Of course, we know Courtney Cox, but Robert Duncan McNeil, who later, of course, popped up on Star Trek Voyager. And I have to give him credit for being one of the producers, and I think writing and directing some episodes of one of my best shows ever, Chuck.
Oh, did he? I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, he's behind the scenes now.
Which I was a lot of behind the scenes.
I was actually shocked with his performance in this movie. I think his acting was a little bit better in this movie than I've seen in some of the episodes in Voyager, but maybe it's because he wasn't as freaked out about things or something. It seems like in this film he's all like, "Oh, what's going on?" He's up on another level. When Voyager, it's like, "Yeah, we're going through space again. All right."
Are we still lost? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Wow. Are we done with the Delta Quadrant? No. All right, we'll keep on trucking. All right, James, what's something else that you enjoyed about this film?
Oh, my other like was we've covered it a bit, but it was Lubick. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's funny. We see him at a high school. He must have switched from principal to officer and changed his name.
Exactly.
But,
it's the same school. It's Hill Valley High. Yeah.
But I love that he's the only one who makes the sensible decision at the end and stays in Eternia.
Yes.
I mean, I get that. I get that she. Courtney Cox got her parents back, but she didn't know that till she was at the last second. It's like, well, we got to go home. Why are you going home?
Yeah. She was just tired. I was almost like, wait, stop and think about this. I know you're exhausted from this long journey. By the way, good journey. And but yeah, I'm there with you. I would have stayed with Ludwig or in Eternia.
She did leave her favorite to the neck pajamas and
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
That was
Lubick,
a
he's like,
strange choice.
It's like, I got me a good woman. I don't know how that happened, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, right.
like, hey, I got my babe.
Hey.
I got my...
You know the ladies like the bald man, James. Come on.
And I think there is some lore that if I remembering my He-Man canon right, I believe He-Man's mom or Teela's mom, I think it's Teela's mom, who's the queen, actually was from Earth and like traveled over in a spaceship and landed in Eternia.
He-Man's
Adam's mom, not Teela.
He-Man.
Teela's
Okay,
mom
okay.
is the sorceress.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but yeah, his mom was from Earth.
Yeah.
Now, some of the original canon was Evelyn, was known as Evelyn, was another astronaut on that ship.
Oh, really? Okay.
And some of the also original concepts that was changed was Beastman was going to have been part of that crew, and he gets mutated somehow or another, but they dropped that pretty quickly.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does.
Now, it's still juggled up in the air in the mini comics if they were still keeping the idea that Evelyn was an astronaut and became Evelyn. They didn't really feed into that even in the animated series, but the mini comics, at least that was some of the original concepts.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
Paul-
I nerd on this stuff.
Paul, what's something you nerded out about this movie?
Something that I really caught me by surprise and I really appreciated being older was the makeup that they used for Skeletor and Gwildor. Now in this rendition, you can see Skeletor's eyes. That's fine. You get over it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But how the actors are still able to emote and like with Gwildor eating and like all the expressions that he's able to come through, like push through the screen through all that heavy makeup is amazing.
Yeah. I the only thing with Skeletor's thing,
it looks like a cloth nose or something.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
hole
that
for the
bothered
nose.
me every single time. Yeah, 'cause I could see they're essentially the cloth
It's
covering,
like they
exactly.
took the Karate Kid skeleton cost. No, wait, that was makeup on there.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how you could do it better. I'm sure they would
Put real holes in there.
this day. Just cut off your nose, Frank Delagilla.
Yeah,
Commit to the part.
Well, if they do a modern one, they can use some more computer, kind of Voldemort him and do it differently. But another good example, I'm going to throw somebody not quite under the bus, but Daniel Benedict made a fan film called The Fall of Grayskull. You can find it on YouTube. I'll warn you now, he's a horror fan, and so the violence is severe at points. But he actually, you can still see Skeletor's eyes. But he actually did a really good job with the design of Skeletor, and it's very bony looking there.
Cool.
So I will recommend that out to you. Plus, Daniel Benedict is just an awesome guy. Also, another, I believe, a Christian guy, because he has taken photos of being down at the Eurasian Museum. So I'm like, cool. So,
cool.
but he's actually doing a lot of films. He's got some horror movies he's directed. So I'm going to throw his name out there so everybody can check out his stuff.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you, Jeremy. I guess we'll end with one more thing I just liked. Wow. One more thing
Don't reveal too much.
Before we get to our classic makers. And that would be, I really loved that this is toward the end, and it's just a moment, but I thought it was so cool how when they get transported, like they set up the cosmic key that's busted, but they get all these the Octode refiners and the Bosco Tesseract, whatever it's called. They get those together.
And a keyboard.
And a keyboard, yeah, excuse me. And they play and they get to Eternia, but it's like it's this huge sphere and it takes into part of the wall and half the car. I just thought that was a great way to both have a fun like time travel element and also provide cover for when they're in this fight. I thought it was just a great dual use. So I really appreciate that visual storytelling and like temporal storytelling, I suppose.
Although, why did the car still stand up in Eternia? Like the wheels, like it was still straight. It should have went down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You just ruined it for everybody.
Right?
Sorry, it kept bugging me the whole time.
It's whatever Gwildor did to the car when he souped it up, because I don't even know where he got the parts to turn the car to use a different fuel source and everything.
Yeah.
It's part of the technology Gwildor put in that it can hover now halfway. So.
Yeah, I think he went to Radio Shack for that.
Sure, must have.
If I could throw in
that's where you get
too.
whatever the fuel that he mentions. That's where you get it. It's Radio Shack.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James.
I don't love Gwildor, but
I
I
don't
hated
either.
I hated Orko so bad. I was so happy
really?
he wasn't in the movie.
Oh, see, I was
shots
disappointed
fired.
Orko wasn't in the movie. I'll get to more of that later.
I just Jeremy's like over. I rushed
Here,
him.
Let's
I think
take
you
a
broke
moment.
Jeremy.
We're in likes section, so I'm going to take a pause before we get to class makers real quick. I'm curious, what is your favorite? Either you can choose. You don't get two, but choose one or the other. Your favorite He-Man character or your favorite He-Man toy. So, Paul, I'm going to start with you.
For some reason, I can't explain it. Even to this day, I'm like, really? But for some reason, I really liked Ram Man. I don't know. Maybe I had a lot of aggression. Like, I thought it was cool to like bust through walls and like. He didn't need to raise his sword. He was always ready to go. Like,
I liked Ram Man too, but I think just because I had the toy.
yeah, the toy's fun too.
Yes,
Legit.
exactly.
Yeah.
Jeremy, how about you?
I feel like I need to go grab my because I've got the current Ram Man and I do have a classic Ram Man back there.
Nice.
Golly, a favorite of the toys because I love them all. I mean,
Or
I'm
just your favorite character, either or.
wow, because I was always just a big fan of He-Man himself, but I always did love Orko. Orko, who was basically introduced in the Filmation series, and it was a fun toy actually because he had like the pull zip thing where he had like this little spinning metal thing, so it'd make him just run randomly around.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Although the current Orko toys, I think, look a lot better, and they've got him where he's got like a hover thing where if you mount him, he looks like he's actually hovering. So
that's cool.
So yeah, I loved Orko.
Okay.
I'm sorry, man.
James?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. Remember, I was 13. I was becoming.
Yeah, there
I
we
was
go.
cynical. I was becoming a cynical teenager. I was like, I didn't like Snarf and Thundercats either. It was like
I
didn't
can
like,
agree with that one. Okay.
Didn't like the mascots. I was kind of against the mascots. But if I had to pick someone, I mean, Skeletor is obviously cool, but favorite action figure, I always thought Panther.
Oh,
The
was he
That's a
Skeletor
Thundercat.
Yeah,
Wait.
he's a Thundercat, but he's
No,
still cool.
Oh, wait. No. I'm talking. Then you can help me, Jeremy. It's Skeletor's cat.
Oh, the purple cat
one.
The purple one. Yeah, I don't know his
I'm
name.
trying to look good. Yeah, I guess
Oh,
Panther.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Good job, Jeremy.
Yeah,
All right.
the Thundercat one was
Yeah, what's his name? It's something Panther. but-
Panthro.
Panthro
Okay.
instead of Panther. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I do have a Panther up.
How
on the
did we
wall.
not realize that as kids? Well, honestly, I don't remember the purple cat in the cartoons that much.
Did they ever have it?
I don't think
They
Panther
did.
ever made it to the
They
cartoon.
did, but it was very like
very
couple
little.
scenes, very small.
I think maybe in the later cartoon. They did
Maybe,
like a
yeah, because
90s
they were trying to
cartoon.
push the toys,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, guys. So those are our favorite toys or characters. Now let's get into our favorite things about this movie. Paul, I'm going to start with you. What was your favorite thing about Masters of the Universe?
James took off with it right away, and that was the music for me by
Really?
Bill Conti. Yeah,
Guys,
it's the best thing about this film,
All right. Okay.
in my opinion.
In your opinion, yeah. Was there a certain, in case I'm putting this under us talking about, was there a certain theme?
Okay,
or
if anybody
part?
goes online and finds the soundtrack, just listen to like the ending credits. I think it's like He-Man's Triumphant and ending credits. It's a longer song, but it has like all the themes in there.
Oh,
so,
cool! It's like an overture of all.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. Let's go to Jeremy next. What was your favorite thing, your classic maker for Masters of the Universe?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm still leaning on the performance of Frank Langella.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah,
he was just,
it was great.
He just threw himself into a part that really he didn't have a lot to work with, but he just seemed to be like he was having such a great time. I mean, if not that, it's got to have been, and I think I have to really think back. It's been a long time since I had Gary Goddard on the show, but like they poured a lot of money into that Castle Grayskull interior set. And it is actually really cool looking.
It is, even with you can tell the parts that are matte paintings that sort of like that make it look like it goes deep, but it's still, I still think they pulled it off pretty well.
So I'm somewhere in between on like either Frank Langella's performance or just that set was just really cool. I mean, it didn't match what we expected because Castle Grayskull is meant to look spooky and scary because it's disguising all the hidden power inside, but it just gave a completely different feel to the throne room and just I don't know. It was otherworldly and kind of sci-fi, kind of Star Wars, but it was just really cool.
Awesome.
Very good. Excellent.
You are too easily pleased, Evelyn.
Evil James, what is your favorite thing about this?
Well, that's it. Well, I was gonna go with Frank Langella, and I'll try not to geek out a little bit on that, just to echo everybody's statements. But
Sure.
But really, what actually watching the movie again, something I'd kind of forgotten. It's not just Frank Langella, but I actually just played a clip that plays right into it. It's the Shakespearean style souring relationship between Skeletor and Evil Lyn.
Yes.
Like, first of all, Frank Langella, Meg Foster, the best actors they're in a completely different film than the rest of the cast.
Yeah, that's
opinion.
true.
I think I have to stop you there. It's Frank Langella and Christy Alley, obviously.
That's who it always reminds me of. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know those aren't contacts either. Those
Yes,
are real
I read
eyes.
that. I didn't realize
wow.
it, but man.
Again, good casting because I mean, she doesn't look like the cartoons or the figure, but she nailed that part.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, go back to their souring relationship, James. Yeah.
But it's I do want to mention it's clear that Langella loves it. In fact, I did some reading. Like his kid loved He-Man.
Oh, okay.
And was running around saying, "I have the powers." So when he called, he's like, "I want this role. I want it so bad."
That's
like
awesome.
he loved it and relished it. And I think but he and her, like, it was just kind of fascinating. His Ascension speech still owns, by the way. But I forgot that kind of weird relationship and chemistry. In fact, one of the things I remembered being my favorite scene was where the execution of Sarad.
Mm-hmm.
And where he quotes Richard III. He's like, "I'm not in the giving vein this day," and like blasts him and stuff.
Yes. Is that the lizard guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Lord of the Rings. Okay.
Yeah, I got a little confused there too.
That's
Sauron.
Yeah. No. But that scene opens. He's got her head in his hands. And they're having this weird, tender moment. And But then, like a minute later, he's soured by her and kind of like sends her off. But she's not frightened of him at all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody else kind of cowers back, and she's just got that icy
It's
blue.
interesting that you could
glare.
see the subtext. He's playing her, and she's playing him. Like
Yeah.
they're playing their own
Right.
game.
Was she playing him? I thought she was trying to be loyal to him.
Yes, but playing him in a way like when things got heated up, she found a way out. Always had an exit ready. Her number one is still herself.
Yeah.
Well, see, I kind of felt like she got soured on him. When
I
it becomes
see
obvious she's not as important to him as maybe she hoped or thought. So then there is like at the end she's just
See, subtext always confuses me.
Peace out, right? She abandons him at the end.
Exactly.
And there's always been this subtext that they had some sort of other relationship. And I like the 2000X series, they call it, where they had, before he becomes Skeletor and he's still got his face on, he's Keldor, and that they have some sort of relationship before, all this. So it's kind of nice. You still kind of feel like you have this relationship, but there's also that bet where part of Evil Lyn's character is she's always looking for a way. She knows she's not as powerful as Skeletor, but she wants control of what he has.
Yeah.
And she'll play it, and she even in the old Filmation series, she would, if she got an opportunity to do something on her own, she would.
Yeah.
And then when she'd fail, she'd act like, "Oh, I was doing this for you, Skeletor. Sorry, He-Man showed up." But she was, always one step ahead. She might have in some ways been smarter than Skeletor. She just wasn't as powerful as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's smart enough to bail at the end. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think at age 13, I may have been crushing on Evil Lyn a little bit.
That's fair.
While watching the movie back then.
I could see that. that. One thing that I was crushing on for this, what was my classmaker, and you sort of hinted at it a little bit, Jeremy, but I thought the makeup and the special effects in this hold up surprisingly well. Even though there's a lot of like kaleidoscope, like lights flashing when they're going through the vortex, but I think the way they used it, they implemented it really well, and it was very effective for like going through worlds. And then I really enjoyed, like the makeup of, so it's Sarad, not Sauron, which me and Paul were mishearing, but it's Sarad, that lizard guy. I hate that he died first because I thought he's the coolest one of the new guys.
No way. All the new people were lame except Blade. He was amazing.
No,
Blade was pretty cool
I
too.
will get to all that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I
Where
thought
was
Sarad was cool.
Triclops? Amanda?
We will get to it. Don't you worry.
No, I'm with you, Francisco. He even had those like he could. Pump out his,
Which is great if you want a Predator film or something. Or
and his toy had sparks out of the mouth. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Regardless, I thought the way they did the makeup, like we were saying with Skeletor, that oozing wound that
Ooh.
Courtney Cox gets. I forget what's her name.
Jules?
Julie. Yeah. Played by Courtney Cox. I thought the contraption of the cosmic key, I thought that was always really interesting and how it opens and stuff. So I thought all of that was
the practical effects.
The practical effects, the special effects. I thought it all really amplified the movie. So good. That was my classic maker. But you know what? There are things that weren't so great about this film, and we're gonna have to get to the. Sorry, guys, reading through my notes, and I thought I had gone through all my likes, but I'm sorry. There's one more thing I just have to say. I have to get this out because it's on my heart to share with you all, and that's the Cellcast. The Cellcast, hosted by Jacob and Drew, review animated movies and TV shows, discussing what they appreciate about the medium in whatever form it takes. Whether it is traditional hand-drawn animated movie, claymation shorts, or a 3D CGI series, check out some animated reviews when you subscribe to The Cellcast at thecellcast.podbean.com. And don't forget, Cell is spelled with a C and a single L at thecellcast.podbean.com.
That's great, Francisco, and I think I know where you're going with this, but what does Masters of the Universe, the movie, live action, have to do with the Cellcast?
Do you want to play that end of ad thing? I thought you were going to do that.
No, I will.
Okay.
Because we're not done with the ad yet.
Okay, fine. Edna mode for that little interchange right there.
Edna mode.
Well, Paul, what it has to do with Masters of the Universe is was originally an animated series, and the Cellcast covers animated series, so it's like that.
That's a like for this movie?
How about some trivia, Paul? Would you like some trivia about Masters of the Universe?
I think so. What do you think, Orko?
And now back to Masters of the Universe.
All
right. Did you all realize that Mattel, the toy company that produced the original He-Man toys, ran a contest where the winner would get a role in this new He-Man film in Masters of the Universe?
I wanted to win that so bad.
The winner, Richard Sponder, I'm probably getting your name wrong, Richard, sorry, plays Pig Boy, who's the one who hands Skeletor his staff when he returns from Earth. He was even listed in the ending credits.
Yeah.
My question to you all is, if you won a contest to play any character from He-Man in a Masters of the Universe sequel, and there never was a sequel, but there was going to be one. If you could be any character in a Masters of the Universe sequel, what character would you play? It could be a main character, it could be secondary, it could be just extra, whatever you want. Well, who would you play? Let's start with Paul.
Since Robert Duncan McNeil is behind the scenes now, I would give it a shot at playing Kevin Corrigan in his later years. I mean, both Robert and I don't look like him in the younger years, so might as well.
Yeah, and you could bring in his younger brother, Billy Corrigan.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah.
That's rough.
Although Courtney Cox looks a lot older than me right now, so maybe that wouldn't work too well.
Anyway, okay. So you would have been Kevin Corrigan, is what you're saying.
Yeah, in the remake, this is not a remake. This is a sequel, right? So it's later on.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, James, how about you?
Well, I mean, I would, part of me would like to pull up the hood and, do me some Skeletor.
Skeletor, nice.
And such,
that would be cool.
But frankly, I would never be able to live up to Frank Langella.
Like, you could do better.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But since he's probably aged beyond what the sequel would work, I would try to gruff myself up and go for some Lubick though. I'm just saying.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
I think I certainly can't get I could get Lubick buff. I can't get He-Man buff. So.
Fair.
I don't know. Be careful, James. Your ego's cashing checks. Dang it! I wrote the line wrong. Your ego's writing checks your body can't cash.
Yeah.
Probably.
And you're both named James, so yeah.
Yeah, that works. Switch. Perfect. How about you, Jeremy? Who would you be?
Yeah, and I tried to think logically about this. I'm like, okay, I'm 46, I'm overweight. There's no way I'm going to look like any other character, but I can motion capture and voice some version of Orko and do this. So I
There
can
you
totally
go.
play Orko.
So you could be Orko. All right.
Love
That's
it.
fair. I like it.
Love it.
I'm
Hey,
very,
Francisco,
very cool.
how about you?
Oh, me? I mean, He-Man, obviously.
Hobby.
No, I would be Ram Man. He's
Oh,
so
there you
short
go.
and stout. I think I could be Ram Man. Yes.
All right.
absolutely.
Cool.
That's like
Yeah.
a little teacup. Short.
Oh my gosh.
Great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Masters of the Universe.
All right. Jordan McDaniel starts us off by saying, "Loved it as a kid. Haven't seen it in almost 20 years."
Fair. Patrick Edwards says the musical tone getting stuck in my head. Also the sequel teaser that never came. Let's pause there. I want to talk about that unless we're to talk about it later.
You know what? Let's pause there and say, Bobo, how dare you with this?
What?
Mini He-Man like Mini Me from Austin Powers. I'm not a Mini Me for Dolph Lundgren.
Well, you're
How
not
dare
as
you?
tall as him.
That doesn't matter.
I've seen the pixel art. You're short. I have to give Bobo that.
Oh my gosh. Let's continue. It might come up later, Paul.
Okay.
You're about the sequel you're talking
back
about?
to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Kirkpatrick Pallant says nostalgic.
Dustin Warford says, still waiting for a sequel and hoping it will be just as awfully good as this incredibly, awfully entertaining movie.
Michael Fraley says, oh, I watched that not long ago. That was an experience, I guess. Creative liberties were taken. On the positive note, I would say that the Skeletor makeup was something special.
Indeed. Wardell White says, classic maker. Being 14 when this movie came out in theaters in early August, just 2 weeks after Superman 4 and 2 weeks before I began my freshman year at high school. Tragic maker. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man exclaiming twice, I have the power. Dolph wasn't impressive as the most powerful man of the universe, but he was alright given that he really didn't say much. I had more fun watching Frank Langella as Skeletor. Overall, I wouldn't call it a classic, but it was, and still is, a very fun and enjoyable little action movie that is far from the tragic.
J.S. Earl says he remembers that, quote, I have avoided it like influenza.
Okay. Who Will Save Generation X podcast says, this movie is all about Gwildor, a.k.a. Pick and Save Orko. Hashtag tragic.
Oh, Jeremy Shields is in here.
Oh, whoa.
Wow, who's that guy?
I don't know. He has the same name as Jeremy here. I interviewed the director, Gary Goddard, on my show. He recently posted about how She-Ra was almost in the movie.
Oh, cool.
So what's the name of your show that people should... I mean, what do you know the name of this Jeremy show that people should check out?
Yeah, he's a handsome man, this Jeremy Shields guy.
Oh, wow,
okay.
Ooh.
Totally good looking. He's better looking than even me, the Spider-Man.
Wow,
is
maybe he
amazing.
could
Okay.
play He-Man.
Maybe he should. A fat He-Man. There you go. Neverland is a fandom nexus, and you have to go back. I think it was like episode 360 something where Gary Goddard is on. But if you follow him on Facebook, he shares a lot of set photos
cool.
frequently, and he had like the original artwork of what She-Ra was going to look like in the
Oh,
film. And then
cool.
he had the page out of the script where she was going to be at the beginning of the film. And I guess at one point he said She-Ra was going to be the one captured instead of the sorceress, and we'd see She-Ra inside there. And then they thought, okay, well, maybe we'll save that when we get to do the sequel. We'll bring She-Ra in then, and then of course we didn't get that sequel.
Yeah.
But how cool would that have been?
That
Getting
would've
the
been
She-Ra
pretty cool.
movie.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing your memories. And you know, it sounds like Who Will Save Generation X and GS Earl sort of kick us into the things we didn't like so much, or they thought there were reasons not to like this movie. So let's talk about what we didn't like about Masters of the Universe. Travis?
Worst whoops.
And I will start us off, guys, with pretty much the opening of the movie. You know, let's start at the beginning. A wonderful place to start. Okay. You guys like Bill Conti, but fine. You like Bill Conti, but Bill Conti, if you're going to start a Masters of the Universe movie, your opening theme needs to be at least as good as He-Man.
Francisco?
Yes.
It's not often I will say this, but I 100% agree with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I do
The
think-
podcast has spoken.
I do think Bill Conti's music is amazing, but It's not as good as the tune from the original theme song of the cartoons.
I mean, I think he could have just done an orchestral version of that.
Wouldn't that
I think
have
it would
been
have been
amazing?
amazing.
Yeah.
It would have been
Yeah.
great. And if he's like, no, I want to do my own thing, fine. Then you got to make it as good or better.
But,
you can't just be worse. In my opinion, it was worse.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna take I'm gonna step on the soapbox a little bit, but and trash all over Hans Zimmer and the likes, because when you redo a theme like Superman and stuff, the reason why they keep coming back to John Williams and other renditions is because it's better. I mean, you look at the Batman theme, you know, that
Danny
Elfman does.
Yeah.
They keep coming back to it because it's better than what they've come up with the, you know, the Christopher Nolan stuff and all that stuff. So movie makers, if you even remaking a movie, let alone the theme, whatever you're remaking, make sure it's at least better.
Yes.
The standard is Ocean's 11. That remake was better than the original.
Oh, yeah, because there was like a 50s version
Yeah,
of it
with
or
the
something,
Rat
yeah.
Pack
Yeah,
and all that.
Okay. Yes.
So, all right, end of soapboxes.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay out of this one.
I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me.
The
but
question becomes: is it better because of the nostalgia and the memories you have of the original theme?
So I
no,
listened to that
music
open
is
house
not
to the remakes,
subjective. It is literally better.
No, I said truth. Yes, I'd say it is too. But
so,
you know,
here's the thing: I listened to that opening, and then I immediately I paused, went to YouTube. I'm like, okay, I need to listen to the He-Man one because maybe I'm misremembering.
You're gonna ruin the. No wonder
it's
you don't
so
like
much
Bill
better.
Conti's
It's
score.
so much like I said, a lot of his score was good. I think it serviced the movie very well. But you gotta start good and you end good. The middle could be whatever, but you gotta hit the game
that.
and the landing.
James, you want to at least give a peek to the other side?
I just in my head all I hear is da 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 da.
Yes.
It's cheesy.
yeah, there we go.
It's
Just, it's like
cheese is good. It's what makes pizzas good.
All right, seriously, our hero is a mostly naked guy with a sword. You can go with cheesy.
Yeah, that's true.
now the bellowing voice at the beginning, like there's nothing more masculine than that sort of opening rip where he announces it like that.
Yes.
It opens great. So,
Oh yeah,
I'll give you the chorus, bridge, whatever you want to call it. The dun, 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 that is kind of lame, but the dun, 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 is a great stinging ending. You can't.
and even the da, 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 even that's a put a full orchestra behind it. I admit that could probably sound awesome.
Yes,
like, just, like take it out of the synthesizer or whatever that
exactly.
was.
Yes.
So yeah,
they could have gone. You know, the toy commercials, but all they had was He-Man, He-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
He-Man. And then they start talking, and Kirk Cameron would come out and show Skeletor's father. Skeletor is his enemy.
Wow.
There's the deep dive trivia. Kirk Cameron, the very first Master of the Universe toy commercial.
That's cool.
So you're saying
That's
He-Man had some growing pains?
Exactly.
Love it.
No, and then I think Kirk Cameron, left behind He-Man.
Wow.
That's funny.
Man.
James,
I was going to make a Fireproof joke, but I don't remember if he was in Fireproof or not.
James, what would you have left behind in this movie? You didn't like it so much.
That's very courageous of you, Jeremy.
Well, I mean,
He wasn't incourageous.
No.
Yeah, I guess Fireproof is the one he was in.
Yeah, he
Courageous
was in
was the one about
Fireproof.
the
All
police
right.
officer.
Sorry, I
let's get
ruined
off
it.
the pure flex.
Yeah.
Okay, James, what do you like about Master of the Universe?
so there's the opposite of Skeletor is He-Man, and the opposite
Yes.
of Frank Langella is Dolph Lundgren. Watching it, he seems bored. He really does.
Yeah.
He seems, and he seems uninterested in the role. It's like it's not just flat or wooden. There's scenes. It looks like he feels annoyed being there.
I could see that. Yes,
But on the
I
opposite
could see that.
spectrum, I would rather have him that than too happy to be here. I'm here.
I'm He-Man.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess I think contrasting him with Frank Langella, I'll borrow the line from Evil Lynn in the movie. Outclassed is more like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely,
Very good fit there.
Yes. Jeremy, what wasn't such a good fit for you about this movie?
This is still going to be my number one tragedy. Is
Well,
why
wait. Save your worst thing.
They save the worst.
For
Okay,
for the end. For your tragedy.
Build up to it. Start minor and get worse.
My smallest nitpick,
Yes.
as smallest as I can go, is the way Tila holds the gun.
Oh my gosh, when she stands up and shoots, she's like the biggest target. Like how she doesn't get hit is amazing. Lucky, if anything. And then she comes down and says, woman at arms. And it's like, you just
Mugging
got
the
lucky.
camera.
You're not all that bad. Like
she's all like 2 fingers on the trigger button, elbows out. She looks like a 5-year-old playing with a toy gun.
I mean, I will say, yeah, I agree with that. But even like He-Man, all the characters pretty much, except for the not stormtroopers, shooting from the hip, you're not going to hit anything. You shoulder it up to aim down the sights. What are you doing?
No, you're that good. You don't need to do that. You can aim from down there.
Okay, Paul, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I've seen enough Wild West shows.
The left arm is steady, the right arm we're holding the gun. That would have looked so much better than this.
Sure.
No, see, Eternian musculature is different.
No. Okay. I didn't realize this, James. Okay, I wasn't. I didn't go to anatomy school for Eternia. So all right. Oh wow. Paul, what's something you didn't care for about this film?
It was actually that moment where she stood up. I liked her. I liked the actress. I was like, I wish I could have seen more of her, like in this movie as that character. Yeah, exactly. I thought she was a good Tila. I just thought that moment just was like it soured it.
Yeah,
for, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost as bad as Avengers Endgame, where all the females had to get all together for that one shot. That's her mugging at the camera for Woman at Arms.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Same level of like
it felt like it takes you out of the movie in that way. It's not just like a natural part of the movie.
It's not realistic.
Yeah.
Not that this movie's never mind.
It's otherwise a very
realistic
realistic movie.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's go back to James. What's something else you didn't like?
Okay, I know you talked about how the effects actually held up, and I agree that there's a lot of them that are fun to look at, but the frisbee speeder scene just does not work.
100% agree. That is so dumb, especially when it's like they're like, here's a speeder, here's a guy on it, and they're going like this, and they're not falling off at all. I'm like,
he's upside down at one point.
Yeah.
That's the Eternian technology. I liked it because it looked actually like a real toy, and I thought it was a marketing for a toy they never came out with it.
But here's the thing: they're not. If you want to say Eternia is something, but fine, but they're not on Eternia, so I feel like they have to go with the Earth physics,
or just make them look more interesting than a garbage lid, right?
Yeah,
They like have like a surfboard or something a little more.
Yeah,
it could have been. I mean, it almost felt like they were riffing on the Return of the Jedi speeder bikey kind of chase.
Yeah.
Pull that off with a Golden Globus cannon budget, and it just looked janky. Especially when He-Man was on them. Like, they should have just traded that out for a different action sequence. And that
exactly.
Although I thought it was one of the better action sequences.
Really? Okay. All right. That's fair.
They did improve on that with the 2003 animated series. They brought those back, and they actually made it work in the cartoon, but they didn't do anything upside down. You know, they made it to where you could fall off.
Okay.
So. You know what I miss? We're talking about vehicles right now. I miss it's the dumbest thing. But in the cartoon, in the original like 80s cartoon, they had this like transporter where it's like it looked like you were sat in a dragon's head, and then the legs extended out, and then you would move forward, and then it'd flip around and go forward.
That was a cool
You look
toy.
perplexed, James.
It was silly, but it was a cool
I know you
toy.
didn't watch the cartoon.
I remember the dragon head, but I don't remember like how the function
around.
was there.
Yeah, it's a weird way to move, but it would have been cool if they brought something like that back. But anyway.
I think we've wasted enough time.
Never think while you're hungry.
Good point.
I like Man-at-Arms. He seemed very much like a grizzled veteran guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jeremy, what's something you didn't like, though?
Okay, so I'm not going to go to my top number one bad.
No, that'll be next.
But I've got my next one is the fact that we have invented bad guys. Like we had Beastman and Evelyn. That's nice. But then who the heck is Karg? Who the heck is Sorod? Although Sorod was cool and Blade was still kind of cool. I mean, Blade could easily have been Triclops, but maybe they couldn't figure out how the actor would be able to see through a visor.
I think it was just too expensive.
Yeah. Trapjaw should have been able to get in there. Trapjaw would have been much better than Sorod. I mean, that at least get some basics and throw Merman in somewhere. You know, I wanted to see more of the actual characters and maybe even from the heroes. I'm going to hint at something else. If we'd have stayed on Eternia, maybe Ram Man could have shown up, or Stratos, or heck, even Mechanic.
Yeah.
But no, we had to go to Earth. But
Yeah,
I'm hinting
but
something else.
and not this troll doll bathed in acid. Like
Card was the nastiest looking, weirdest afro. I don't know what they were going with Card,
Hey,
but
hey
he's like,
guys, can we stop talking about this right now because you're kind of stepping on something?
Yeah, save it,
mainly-
Francisco.
So we got these side characters and not more characters that we were familiar with
Yes,
from the
yeah.
animated series and from the toys.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely was something. Although I will say having Skeletor kill Trapjaw or something would have been bad.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
having Sorod in there as being like, well, he's you're not familiar with him. You don't mind if he gets nuked.
Right.
Yeah,
You need a throwaway character.
You needed a throwaway, so I understand that.
I was sad the whiny troll doll didn't get it.
Yeah, Card should have been the one getting toasted. Totally, 'cause he
Guys
was
are.
horrible.
Don't worry, guys. You'll have more. We could say more about this. Let's.
Oh,
move on
don't
then.
worry, Francisco. We're saying it now. You don't have
we
to.
got more to say. I did predict tragic after all.
Paul.
Yeah.
What wasn't your tragic maker, but something that was tragic for you?
You go into this movie expecting a movie about He-Man, and it's He-Man Goes to Earth, which is fine for a goofy movie sequel, a fish out of water kind of a thing.
Yeah.
If the first film about He-Man should be a movie about He-Man in Eternia.
Yeah.
You know, and so like the whole plot, like a lot, and I'm sorry, yeah, there are several plot things that just didn't make sense to me, and just the overall plot, it's like, this is what you go for. I mean, I understand going to Earth. It's people who've never seen it, something that they can relate to. I understand why, but I don't. Yeah, but I don't think it works for its initial film.
Yeah.
We could have
And
had the hero's journey of Prince Adam, but we got this.
Well,
Exactly. That would have been amazing.
So here's what I'll say to that. Here's Francisco's fabulous fan fiction. It's fabulous. I will say that that was going to be my next dislike. It's like, why is there no Prince Adam? I feel like that is a nice sort of a nice corollary to, or juxtaposition, whatever fancy word you want to say, to He-Man. That you have this character that very much like Clark Kent, that people are just like, don't think is very special or what have you. I thought it would have been cool if He-Man's great. I love the like muscle, and I'm here with the power. I have the power, all that. I thought it would have been really cool if they just forgo the whole Kevin and what's her name, Tiffany,
Monica,
Jenny, whatever. Yeah, Monica Geller. Forgo those characters.
Let her go start a restaurant somewhere and go away.
and gave that story element. Let's say they do get trapped on Earth. What if Prince Adam, in that form, he's actually a song maker, much like Daniel from the Bible was a king, but also wrote music. I thought that would be more interesting.
Slow and boring.
What did you do? You offer me, Paul? I think that would be more interesting, though, for that character to also use Prince Adam. I think that would have been nice.
Yeah, I think they were trying to borrow from like the original mini comics, where he actually started with this barbarian who happens to save the goddess, which is basically Green Tila, and she gives him the sword and the harness, which the harness is what enhances his strength and makes him the guardian of Grayskull.
Yeah,
so I think they were going with that, where he was just some random barbarian who just happened to be named He-Man.
Which in my jaded 13-year-old self, like that, like I liked Conan the Barbarian. I liked Thundar the Barbarian.
Thundar. Well, Thundar wanted to be He-Man. He-Man was meant to actually be Conan, because you cannot sell toys to an R-rated movie back in 1980.
So my whole thing when the cartoon came out was, this is not a superhero. Why do we have an alter ego at all? Like I didn't like that in the cartoon. So then I didn't miss it in the movie. But I've already thrown myself under the fan bus and admitted I didn't like the cartoon. So
there's the walker.
So real quick, this is the walker I was talking about.
Wow, this is great for an audio podcast.
I'm gonna cut this out, Paul. Don't you worry.
Well, this is streaming on YouTube and whatnot and Rumble, so people can watch this.
Yeah,
well, yes.
I'm just saying for the audio.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Enough of that.
Although as a vehicle, it doesn't make any sense at all, because
it's
very
inefficient.
But
yeah,
it's a cool toy, though.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
It's only cool for going over bridges. Or making it a bridge.
Yeah.
So that whole element of Prince Adam not being in this, I didn't care for. But I get, if you didn't care for the cartoon, that wouldn't have mattered much. So I totally get that.
I'm
but
with
now
James
let's
on
get
that. We don't need Prince
into
Adam in this.
our tragic makers. I'm gonna go ahead and just start. Since you guys already sort of walked all over it.
Oh.
But man, I hated how there wasn't more of the original Rogues Gallery from He-Man.
What? I'm shocked. Continue. What do you mean?
Tell me more.
Unpack that.
I promise I agree with you.
Or unbox it, maybe.
I understand. I can understand. At least this is why I hope they were thinking with this is that okay, let's make a bunch of new characters so we can sell more toys because kids are gonna love this movie. We could get so many more toys.
And they did. Well, they made toys of it. I don't.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you can make like movie versions of the characters that then just sell those as toys, and it's like, oh, I want to get the movie version of this if it's cool. I don't think it made sense to make all these new characters. Yeah, maybe one, like you said, to get rid of Sarod as a throwaway. But why Sarod? Why not stupid looking dumb Karg? Oh, I hate looking at him every single moment he's on screen with this big hair. You don't need that much hair. Get out of my face.
And didn't it look great in the blue screen or the green screen?
So ugly. Yes. And then I couldn't tell if he had two hooks or one hook. I think it's just one hook and then a dagger. But it's like,
yeah.
What? Who are you think? Who are you trying to prove to yourself? You're no good. Just go away. Go away.
He's one of Skeletor's finest.
Sure.
Apparently, because he lived. But gosh. So I hated that character especially. But I thought
you have a thing against ugliness.
Which is funny because I look at it every morning in the mirror. No, just kidding. Yeah, I should.
Wife like
actually very good to look at your sin so deeply.
Oh boy! Wow.
Bring it back around. I like this ball. Thank you.
Dragon Walker. Somebody in the chat got it. Dragon Walker.
Oh my gosh.
Dragon Walker. Good job.
Yes.
Thank you, Rushmore show.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I didn't. That was my tragic maker for Masters of the Universe. Jeremy, what was you've been waiting? What was the thing you hated most about this film?
As Paul was saying, why in the world were we ever on Earth?
Okay,
the only time I could have seen maybe on Earth is if we wanted to really do some backup origin and make it part of the story. I would love to have seen maybe the launching of Marlena, and maybe have Evelyn with her to become Evelyn.
Yeah, that would have been cool
Launch
to get
them
us
from Earth.
Yeah,
get us there. Then we could even kind of quickly montage our way from young Adam. Maybe even hint at his sister being stolen away by Hordak. So there's your sequel set up a little bit, montage away, and then the hero's journey of Adam. Bring in all these other characters because if you stay on Eternia, you have opportunity to introduce these characters. Maybe even pull from the cartoon and have what was that giant dragon's name from the cartoon? It was really cool.
I don't remember.
Elliot from Pete's Dragon.
Draco, voiced by Sean Connery.
They finally made a toy of that character in more recent years. I think Super 7 made it because it's a really cool. He pops up in like 3 episodes. This big giant dragon who doesn't really trust humans, but He-Man helps him. So he's like, I'm kind of cool with He-Man, but don't come in here. It's rude to come in here unannounced. He's a very interesting character. So, but there's all these side characters they came up with in the animated series. There's so many different toys that we could have seen Ram Man or Stratos and Buzz Off, even Buzz Off, who's got the most ridiculous name. I don't know how you'd excuse that in a movie, but still, there's so much that could have been done.
Often my fabulous fan fictions are the most fabulous, but I will have to concede that Jeremy's right here is next level above mine. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, you want to see Hercules before you see Hercules Goes to New York. I mean,
yes, exactly. All right, let's go see James go to New York, or maybe the Tragic Maker for this film instead.
Granamir, thank you, Rushmore Show.
Oh, that's the name of the dragon?
Oh, I thought he mistyped something there. That's the name of the dragon. Okay.
Oh, man. Okay, what did I hate? Well, nothing from Eternia. You can be happy.
Yeah.
Definitely something from Earth. But what I hated most, I might disagree a little with Paul here. Yes, he might act better than he did on Voyager, but Kevin has to go.
Yeah.
Kevin. Or young Tom Paris. pretty much everything about him, but especially the ridiculous plot point where he's a master songmaker. Are you kidding? He's annoying in every way.
But that doesn't mean that he can't write songs.
But the idea,
just like there's two people in all of Eternia that can write music.
All we ever see is he pushes a button on the synthesizer and it's like da-da-da-da-da. He's like, "What'd you think of that?" His girlfriend's like, "Yeah, whatever."
Typical.
And it seems like the only reason he's a master song maker is because he can remember how to hum a tune.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
So, like,
he's in a band. They were he was tuning the instruments. You know,
are Eternians all inherently tone deaf?
Yes.
Like,
Gwildor had to look on Fiverr for one of the two music people in all of Eternia to help him make that key thing.
We don't understand this music. I kind of wish Blade's depth perception had been off a little bit when he slammed his knife into the table earlier in the movie.
Well, and why did he have such an attitude with Strickland? I can't think of it. Oh, Lubeck.
Yeah,
he suddenly at the house, he suddenly gets an attitude with him, and he's not being helpful. It's like, look, the cop is going to try to help you find Julie, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Why are you suddenly being like, you're acting like you're guilty, like you burned down the school or something?
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense whatsoever for him to do
Yeah.
that. And that is the worst thing of Kevin. But that's just writing. That's
and when
not
you
the
find
actor's
something
fault.
that looks like the cosmic key in a meteor hole in a cemetery, it's not a Japanese synthesizer,
Right?
Well, obvi. What are you talking about? All the best stuff is made in Japan.
Well, it is, but it doesn't
Especially
show
in
up
the
in a
80s.
cemetery in a hole.
Yeah, it flew over from Japan. That's how it made
Well,
the hole.
See, if you never went to Earth, this wouldn't have happened.
Like, no wonder Julie should have just left him. I'm just like, he's going nowhere.
Yeah.
She tried.
Why? But I don't get it. Why does she still stay with him at the end? It doesn't seem like there's any setup for her to stay with him. She seems dead set to leaving him. She doesn't seem that in love with him.
If you ever watch the movie Speed, when you have an adventure together, you kind of stay together.
Okay, but then there needed to be something else. So
She wanted to leave town mainly, and she was going to leave him behind because after she couldn't deal with living there with her parents having died. So that wasn't really had to do with anything with him, and more it's like her just wanting to get a new life.
And none of this has anything to do with
She knew
He-Man.
Tom Selleck was waiting for her in New York.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
and then what an idiot. If he's like one of 3 people in all of Eternia that actually could do anything with music, he should
should stay.
in it. Could have been like there he would have been a master songmaker.
Yeah,
he could have
totally.
played on a kazoo.
He
or
could
something.
charge
$10.
$10.
I don't know.
Oh my word! Oh, that's very fair, James. I didn't really care for Kevin either much.
I thought he was a bit over the top, but I don't blame Lieutenant Paris for that. James.
That's true.
Not James
fair.
Tolkien. Robert Duncan McNeil. I think that was the direction he was given.
All right,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I think it's the script was kind of off.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that leaves you, Paul. What did you dislike most? What was really off for you?
This, every time something new comes on, like, this isn't Castle Grayskull. This is like Dark Crystal Tower in the middle of the forest with the skull.
Very Dark
Don't
Crystal.
insult Dark Crystal's Tower, though. The Dark Crystal Tower was so much cooler than this Grayskull.
This,
But
yeah.
it had a similar vibe though.
This
for
doesn't
sure.
resemble the cartoons or the toys. It's like, why aren't you capitalizing on what made this great?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Paul. That's
Exactly. It's the worst thing about this film.
At least it had a skull in front of it.
Yeah, but it also looked like it
Yes.
was part of like some like
Evil
Blade
place.
Runner or something in there.
Blade
with
Runner?
Yeah, with the like it had like electric wires going out of it. Like it's kind of futuristic, discotheque almost.
Tech noir.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In the middle of a desert. Oh wait, yeah, that's the Dark Crystal again.
I don't know if I agree with the final analysis, but I agree with the assessment. So
Yeah.
we'll go with that.
The final. Oh, all right, fine.
I agree
I
with that.
think
It
you're
makes-
allowed to have your opinion, but I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't agree that it looks like Blade Runner. I agree that it
Right,
doesn't
yeah.
look like what
It gives me
should've come-
vibes of
All right,
something
fine.
way different than what it
Okay.
should have been.
All right,
I'm
fair.
trying to grasp what that is.
Okay. Okay, let me ask you this, Paul. Have you experienced
Yes, I've been there myself.
A movie where it actually does a good job of amplifying the cartoon. It actually feels, and not like New York Ninja Turtles for real New York. I'm talking about like a fantastic place that doesn't exist on Earth that they make into a movie from a cartoon, and it actually looks great.
A fantasy movie.
Yeah.
From
Gotham doesn't count either. That's just Chicago, New York. It has to be like
none of the superheroes or
yeah, none of those. And Jeremy or James, if you think of one, feel free to.
A live action fantasy. Now I'm even blanking on what's that.
Close thing I can think. I'm thinking Lord of the Rings, but that wasn't a cartoon. But the way they fleshed that world out,
It
Lord
was
of the Rings
better than the animated.
Yeah, but that was
there was an
originally a
animated
cartoon.
movie.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. We come up with an example.
I
That
can't
doesn't
think
count.
of a TV cartoon that got adapted into a live action. That looks better,
and that's a fantasy.
honestly.
Yeah,
The
a
Gummy
fantasy-
Bears. No,
or
wait, that didn't
sci-fi.
happen.
It could be a
I'd love a
sci-fi,
movie
too.
of the Gummy Bears.
Yeah.
I
to
think
tell you
Paul
the
tapped
truth.
into something though. I think you just figured something out in me, Paul. But because it was sort of a weird techno future looking castle.
Yeah.
I think I really just wanted a Thundar movie. I think that's really what was. I was really,
Yeah.
This
That
was
would be
me.
cool.
This was me trying to see it through the lens of a Thundar movie. I knew I would never get.
It's more
Yeah,
desert
yeah.
area, sure.
Thundar is like a post-apocalyptic Earth,
Yeah,
right? Or is
right.
that a different?
Yeah,
planet?
it's like
I
a
forget.
weird
They need toys
mishmash
of that
of-
one too.
Yeah.
A Thundar toy would be awesome.
I would. So they're doing all these multiverses stuff. Can I get a Conan, He-Man, Thundar? I feel like there's one other one.
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster. Oh yeah, like a mixed universe. That'd be fantastic. I'd love that.
You mean they're not all the same
Would.
universe?
Maybe
Conan's
they are.
not on Eternia?
We've already got
Maybe
He-Man fighting
they-
Superman.
Oh, that's true.
That has happened.
But now that we're done coming to blows about the things with Masters of the Universe, with the things we like, the things we didn't like, we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer. Travis, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Salvo authority accepted. Ratings prepared to launch.
Coming in hot. This is great. Rushmore Show says his Tragic Maker was no Cringer or Battle Cat. That is an excellent point. Where's the Battle Cat?
He's back on Eternia.
Yeah.
With King Randor.
And Queen Marlena. People who didn't get to
All
make
right.
it into the movie.
What? We've got
know what's funny? I didn't realize to this watch that the sorceress is the same actress that plays Monica Geller's mom in
It
Friends.
is?
Wait,
yes.
what?
It is?
No.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Christina
Wow.
Pickles? Is that her?
Christina
Oh,
Pickles.
yeah.
Oh wow,
I didn't
that's
realize that was her
crazy.
and Friends.
Yeah. So they had little mini Friends pre-reunion.
Pre-union.
Yeah.
I think that's what that's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, do we rate Masters of the Universe a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see it, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, if you remember watching it as a kid or young adult and you liked it, yeah, check it out again. You'll have fun reliving those fun memories. But if you've never seen it before, pass it on by. Or do we rate it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time. If you've never seen it before, definitely keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you might have of it with a rewatch. So we'll start with our guests as we'd like to. Jeremy, what is your final rating for Masters of the Universe? You predicted tragic. Where did it actually end up, though?
Well, I have to go back to like being able to share memories. Like my buddy Philip, who's actually now even my pastor, how he had a love for this movie this whole time is remembering when he went with his father to go see the movie in theaters. Now, I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on video VHS later. But as I've gotten older, I never grow up because I am the Pan of Neverland. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to have some appreciation because I enjoy the things of my youth. Obviously, if those watching the video can see all my toys and stuff, it's given me an appreciation. I can watch this movie, but I realize I'm enjoying it for the nostalgia of a He-Man movie. Not that it's a great movie, but it makes it fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I suppose if I had children, it'd be fun to share it with the kids. And all these toys that I have would be fun to play with if I had a son. Even a daughter would be fun to play He-Man and say, "Yeah, we used to enjoy this when I was little." And, you know, I'd watch the cartoon with my kids. I'd watch this movie with my kids. But it's all the nostalgia of it would be fun. And that's what I found when I was watching, and I've watched it a few times. I watch it like at least once a year anymore, because it's stupid fun, and sometimes you just need that, and it's that nostalgia. But I think if this movie had come out now, it would just tank out, and nobody would have appreciaed it. But those of us like Gen X, He-Man was something we grew up with, other than I guess James over there didn't quite grow up with it, but it's something from our past, something that just makes us feel good. And I even, as I mentioned before on my show, like having these Master Universe Origin figures coming out, it feels good to me to just hold it in my hand. It takes me back. Just holding this figure, it feels good. It just takes you to that happy place of being a kid and enjoying these characters and the animation and the toys. And it's unfortunate that my wife and I only have 3 cats, and we weren't able to have children, because I would, if those of you with kids, this is the type of thing, share with your kids. I mean, it's great. Your kids will probably enjoy some of the stuff you enjoyed as a kid. Like even, Philip, as I mentioned, his nephew Freddie loves old 80s movies, loves cartoons, because he spends so much time with his uncle that he loves this stuff. He's gotten to experience it, and so it is something you can share.
I think what I heard is your final rating is tragic. Did I hear that
right?
No,
I'm calling it nostalgia. It brings back good memories and good feelings. Not necessarily of the movie being great, but just having the movie out there, even if it was like a couple years too late. Really, totally fair, it should have been. It should have been a little sooner.
Yeah, so, I remember the He-Man fandom at the time had died down. Unfortunately, by the time the movie came out,
but
they were a little slow.
No, it hasn't died down. The rest of our ratings. So, James, what is your final rating? You had predicted nostalgic. Where did it end up for you?
In my head, it's always been a classic. I predicted nostalgic because I figured it wouldn't weather quite as well, and I kind of want to say class-stalgic, but I ultimately I'll fall on nostalgic. Most people most people, like my wife, they watch this movie and they're like, "What the heck do you see in this?" So, I think what's classic is watching just those 2 performances that I talked about. But sadly, it's saddled with all the other stuff. So just like that leaves it at nostalgic. So
absolutely, I totally get that. Paul, what was you had predicted nostalgic as well? Where did it end up for you?
So, do you want to know mine, or should we ask the Rad Rewinders?
The Rad Rewinders didn't want to voice their opinion this time.
Whoa! So. That's surprising, because we had a number of people trying to get on this review with us, more than most episodes. So it could be. So we do. So Rewinder Republic, thank you so much for supporting us. I know maybe some of you, a lot of you. We do say if you've seen it in the last couple of years, vote, because we don't want people voting if they haven't seen it in years and years or never seen it. So maybe it's just been a bunch of people that haven't seen this, and so they didn't want to bias the vote, and we appreciate that. All right, so we could have a draw here. This is interesting.
We'll figure something out if we do.
Yeah, I predicted nostalgic, and as a kid, I enjoyed the He-Man cartoons, and I loved playing with the toys. And I'm like, nice. I have a great affiliation. There's that affinity. Affinity. Thank you. I knew there was a word. I have these great memories of this. And so I want to give this movie a classic rating. But I'm going to have to quote Skeletor in, "I am not in the giving vein this day." And unlike Jeremy, I did not find this fun. I'm going to have to agree with James's wife and say, why are you watching this? I at the end of it, now granted, it had a great feel-good ending. The ending where she goes back. Oh, speaking of ending.
Why are her parents back? I didn't quite understand that.
Because Gwildor took her back in time, not only through space, but he said he could take her back in time. So he took her back to before her parents had died.
Yeah. Even though she looks the same, she's
because it was recently.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
it's kind of like Superman suddenly getting the powers to throw his S at General Zod.
All of a sudden, where has this been? Needed. Oh, it's convenient. All right,
Okay,
yeah.
So
besides all that, I at the end I was like, what's the point? I did not get anything out of it. So I unfortunately gonna rate this tragic.
Really? Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was not either.
You know, I just had the thought, if Gwildor could suddenly do time travel with this thing, why couldn't he go back to before he gave that one to Skeletor that allowed Skeletor to break into Captain Grayskull anyway?
Does not make sense.
Stop this from ever happening.
Or this review.
I feel like if you ever watched that one YouTube guy, the like a movie pitch things where he makes jokes and makes fun of the movies.
Pitch meeting, I think.
Yeah, like pitch meeting. Yeah. But of course, the reason why Gwildor didn't go back is so the movie could happen.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
There you
exactly. But like Paul, I kind of wish this movie hadn't happened. At least hadn't happened the way it was, because I too rated tragic. I feel like it was a little less than the sum of its parts. They had some great parts to work with.
I agree with that.
And if in isolation, they're like fantastic. Frank Langella, I thought some of the effects. James Tolkien for his one note, but it does it so well.
Yeah, there's some great parts about it. But
some of Bill Conti's music, not all, but some. But yeah, I think you just need one piece to be a bit more, and this definitely would have sold it for me. If you could have had a better He-Man, I think that would have been fantastic, or more Eternia, that would have been fantastic. There's just, it didn't quite make it. So
more original characters.
Yeah, less.
Sorry. Yeah. Original toy characters.
Original cartoon characters in the movie. Yes.
Yeah.
But for that, according to the Retro Rewind podcast.
Wait a minute.
I have waited so very long for this moment.
We're going to have to figure out something, because I don't know, because I think we try not to have draws anymore. So so here's what we'll do.
Extend the deadline for the reflux capacitors.
Exactly. So here's what we're going to do, guys.
If they rated a classic,
it'll just be nostalgic then. Classic. So what we're going to do, guys, is we'll give our Rewind Republic a little bit extra time. And anyone here in chat, if you just want to sign up for a month, and so you could rate this movie, then now's your time.
Where can they do that, Francisco?
They could do that, retrorewindpodcast.com/support. But for us here now, what we're going to do is we're going to essentially record two different takes, as if it. So this is either going to be nostalgic or tragic. That's pretty much what it's going to be, regardless of whether if they choose classic, it goes to nostalgic. If they choose nostalgic, it's nostalgic. If they choose tragic, it's tragic. Anyway, so we're going to record two different takes based on those reactions, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the show. All right, so here's take one. Number one is if they rate it nostalgic. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Oh, actually, let me do a little bridge. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we're gonna have to rate this. We're gonna have to go to the future to find out what our Rewind Republic rated this. So what did they say? So what did they rate Francisco from the future? And now we're going to come back as if it was nostalgic. Really, guys? Nostalgic?
Yes.
All right. I mean, maybe
maybe childhood, like I said before.
Yeah, I'm actually happy with that rating. Even though I personally don't, I'm glad other people do. Like,
I'm gonna give it to Skeletor. I'll be back.
Okay, so we didn't talk about the ending real quick.
Can you say that? Because this may not make it. Because we tried to do the classic. You could bring that up after, okay?
Edna mode.
Yes.
All right.
Now we're coming back as if there's a tragic. See, okay. See, the masses agree with me and Paul. We have we're on the pulse of the people. Boo! Where are you going? What you want to
watch this movie?
What do you want to come back like Skeletor or something, James?
Yeah, that's right. I will just pop right back up. I'll be back, and it'll be classic.
One day we will get a new Masters of the Universe movie, and it will be the most amazing movie you've ever seen in your life.
I hope so. There's potential for it. But let's talk about that ending. Like, most people don't really like the very ending after the credits. A lot of people didn't find out about that until like the internet or later.
Yeah.
I didn't stay long enough in the theater to find out about it.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't have very many friends to talk about it with either. That says to stay. But I remember like having it on video and not stopping at the end, just letting the credits play and just like doing something else, kind of like what we did with like CDs when we accidentally found a hidden track at the end. We were just letting it play. Yeah. So I found it out that there was a little scene there with Skeletor at the end of the credits saying he'll be back. I was curious where you guys landed on that. Did you know, and when did you find out?
I was in the. I think I saw that just with my brother. Like my parents would make us leave early sometimes, but we love to stay like through, especially after like the Star Wars movies were coming out, right? So you want to stay all through that John Williams music. Very end. So we kind of had that tradition of staying till the end.
Oh, nice.
And so then it was like, wait, what's happening?
That's cool.
Yeah, I was in theater.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
nice.
Awesome. How about you, Jeremy?
I was probably an adult when I heard that there was a thing at the end, or it might have been part of discussion. I remember actually having, when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie came out, this is the way my young brain kind of worked. I didn't like that they killed Shredder because I thought, oh, well, because they might want to feel consistent, they'll stop the cartoon because they, you've already watched Shredder die, so now people will be confused if they watch the cartoon. I was thinking that, and part of the reason why I thought that is like this, for some reason my brain associated when Skeletor died in the movie, that's when the animated series was gone. But the animated series really was gone. They had stopped making new episodes. It was just being rerun at this point. But my brain kind of equivaled that, like, oh, if Skeletor dies, well, darn it, then they're not gonna do that, or Shredder's gonna die, and so that's over. No more cartoon. But then I think somebody might have pointed out to me at the time, so oh, didn't you say at the end of watching the end of credits, Skeletor comes back? That might have happened, but I don't recall if that's happened. It's like I have that memory, but I'm not sure if it's real. I think mainly I was probably an adult when I heard about that, and it might have been the internet.
You were decepted.
Exactly.
For me, Paul, I don't remember. I think it was probably as an adult also when I rewatched this at some point for some reason. It may have even been one of
the lesser known stingers at the end. Yeah, this movie actually has one.
That one
in the 80s. Did they? I mean, it was so rare.
Yeah, but the only other one I know of is Adventures in Babysitting. There's a thing at the end of that movie.
Well, the one that I always go to is, and people don't really count it, but I think it works, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Because there's a whole scene through the credits and then after. Yeah.
You're still here?
Yeah, exactly.
Go home. Awesome, guys. Well, now it's time. We can't head back to 20XX yet, but we can still, while we're waiting for Travis to figure out where we're going next, I think we're trying to head back to 1983 to see if the Fix-Its will help us to, or the Fukusa will help us to get the escape pods working again and whatnot. But while we're here, let's find out where we can all find James and Jeremy and Paul and me online.
Return to 20XX overridden. Comsats broadcasting while awaiting return coordinates.
I don't know what he's saying either, don't worry.
Comsats broadcasting while awaiting return coordinates.
Something about 20XX, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Paul. Well, it feels good to still be here, hanging out with you guys, and we wouldn't have been able to travel to 1987 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflex capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, Rosie Lomax, That's Our Babo, D. Tungsten, Dale, Mr. Lost, Gerald Hafner, Cool Deluxe, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help us keep flying and get bonus content for your generosity, and maybe even help with this review of this, even though it's probably too late by the time you're hearing this. Anyway, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
So here is normally where I play a bumper for, pauljpowers.com. But, and it usually has something to do with what we're reviewing, but sometimes it doesn't. So I'll just play something random. Either way, we want to bring you the best quality of what we're doing.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners are sponsored by pauljpowers.com, like this stream here.
Yeah. So, Francisco.
Wow.
Is there some ways that people can support the show that doesn't involve emptying their bank account?
Actually, yes. They can get a shower, a shave, and a feel of a shoot by all you have to do is, you probably enjoyed this episode if you've made it this far through all these shenanigans. So if you aren't driving, why don't you tap the share icon on your podcast player for this episode and send it to a friend saying, hey, I know you like He-Man, I know you like Masters of the Universe, what have you, and I thought you might like this podcast where they talk about it. And so that'd be a great way to help for free.
Cool, and I'll bet they'll thank you for it. And speaking of thanking people, we also want to give a big He-Man hug to Jeremy and James for supporting their supporting us with their thoughts about Masters of the Universe. And I like to go in alphabetical order, so we'll start with James. Where can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on?
Well, yeah, you can find me at cinemagog.com, and if you can't spell that, just go to popcorntheology.com, and you can find contacts and things from there. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and it's just it's facebook.com/Harlemanic, so just my last name, IC, Harleman IC, or Harlemanic on Twitter. And yeah, I actually am pretty excited. I have a new edition of my book, Cinemagog, coming out here in November, so just in time everybody can get a hardback or a paperback for Christmas, just talking all things film and faith, and just trying to understand how and why we tell stories and what kind of underlies those. And so that's my fun and a lot of dream. And I'll be working on a sequel book dealing with the kind of the last decade of superhero films and franchise IP that's coming out next probably next summer. So
I will say, if you're one of our Reflex Capacitors, you support the show, and you've listened to our spiritual speculations, you have those really come out of a lot of me reading Cinemagog. And I forget if you read it, Paul, or read parts of it, but yeah, that
You've
really
read it to me. Does that count?
Yes, that counts. But
so you tuck them into bed,
your own personal audiobook.
Read a story.
That way I can dream about.
Wow. But no, so thank you, James, for inspiring us to do this other segment. I really appreciate you writing that, and that's awesome that there's a new edition coming about.
My brain just went Princess Bride. I'm San Francisco as Peter Falk over there reading.
Is this a kissing podcast?
Chapter 1. It was a beautiful day. I can't.
All right, and Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you online, and what do you have cool going on?
I'm in a lot of places. Of course, you can find nearly everything at neverlandpodcast.com. Of course, also on YouTube, you can find an official Neverland podcast channel where you'll basically have video versions of the podcast because people told me they like to listen that way. And also, I have the Neverland official gaming channel where coming up in this with spooky season, as I like to call it, I'm going to start playing some scary games. This is my third year I think I've done it, where I call it Scare Play. And I've picked up some stuff on Steam that was free that I've never played before. Plus, today I picked up Phantasmophobia or whatever, and
where you're trying to hunt ghosts or something. Yeah,
I'm looking for some people to play with me because it's supposed to be multiplayer. So, hey, if anybody's interested, but I do plan on sharing some video of that. So I've got kind of event. If you like horror games, which is weird for me because I don't like horror movies, but I love horror games.
Interesting.
I think it's because when I play Resident Evil, I get to blast the monsters and I don't just get slaughtered by them. Okay, so there's a difference.
I'm sorry. I'm just getting vibes of, hey, I have a new Ouija board. I'm looking for friends to play with me.
Well, not quite like that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, if you see the Ouija board, you should probably burn it. But yeah, so there's places on YouTube. Also, I do have a Rumble page, and of course, if you're looking for some fun on Twitter, the only thing I really post to Twitter is when a new episode comes out of the podcast. But I can be found as the Spider Pan in a lot of places on Instagram, on Twitter, also on Facebook. You will find I don't know whether to call it a fan page or a like page, but there's also a group there as well. The group is a bit more better for interaction. I'm trying to be more active on that. I've kind of let that slide over the years, but I'm coming back and we're doing some stuff. I'm not nearly the meme lord that Paul is.
Right.
But
Paul is the meme lord. That's
he
true.
is the meme lord. And that still was that meme you posted earlier today was still the best meme I saw today.
All right.
It did not change.
Cool.
You have to have seen all them Facebook in order to get that because he posted that fun little thing of Homer and Bart with like so far. I'm like, no, that was the best one. It still was. So you're going to have to probably cut that out because it won't make any sense.
I actually do like horror movies, Jeremy, and in fact we're heading into the horror month. On Popcorn Theology, our podcast is going to be covering. We're starting with Haunting in Venice.
Oh, cool.
Although
kind of
that wasn't really a scary
crossover.
movie. It had moments.
There were boo moments.
So we're dipping into our horror season, and we're actually going to have a couple guys who do short films, do horror short films. We're going to have a couple guests that actually kind of connected, and so it's going to be an interesting month. Some film reviews, but also some guests and some cool animals.
So I will say I do like old horror movies like Vincent Price and like the old classics that didn't rely on gore. That's the main thing. I don't like a lot of gore and crud and stuff like that thrown at me, but good stories. There you go.
Nice.
Especially what is the Haunting of Hell House or whatever is the Vincent Price where they're all in the the asylum.
House on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill. I love that movie. That is a good one. So I mean, there is stuff I like from horror. I just don't like modern horror. I don't want a bunch of blood and guts. I'd rather watch Poltergeist. That's the most recent I will go over. Any. I don't do slasher movies. Although the first Halloween I did kind of enjoy watching it edited. Because it's not a gory movie anyway. It's more suspense, and you didn't have all the stupid tropes that came up yet. So there are some stuff I'll watch. But
it's time to slash this show because
there
we
you
gotta
go.
Get going. But
I babble.
Again.
Okay, have you noticed?
Thank you again so much, Jeremy and James, and my awesome has the power friend Paul, and all you rewinders, new and old, for another fun voyage.
You're welcome, and you can find me, PaulJPowers.com at PaulJPowers.com.
Oh,
everybody say it together.
Apparently, we need to say it all together. Yeah.
And you can PaulJPowers.
Okay, enough of this. You can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at RetroRewindPodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Hey, James, you said you invited guests on from horror movies. Did you invite that floating voice that just appeared out of nowhere? That's kind of scary.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that voice is right. As it just said, we are now part of Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media.
Indeed. And thank you, EXO, so much. And thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we got to catch you all for the next episode. We're not sure what it is. We'll find out. And you can help us find out by listening to our Ship's Logs episodes. But wherever it is, we'll see you there on the next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
Rewinders of the Lost Pod mission complete. Review audio ship's logs for more details.
I'm through toying with you, He-Man.
You're still here?
Oh, I think you're going to play the whole one.
Go home.
Oh, it's that long?
You boob.
Go.
It's still going.
Yeah. It's like
Is it
30
over
seconds
now?
almost. It's 20
Yeah, I'm
seconds.
cutting that.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It is good.
Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you, everyone, for being here. We're going to end the stream now and go over and record our spiritual speculation. But thank you, Rushmore, for being here. Bobo, Who Will Save Generation X. Let's see. I think there were a couple other people. David Amber, if you're still here, hello. But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. Appreciate you being here in the chat. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And until next time, here is your stream face.
The righteous dude.